Dad, with the dream to be of entrepreneurship, you're presented with a world of possibilities along with a world of challenges. Join Joel Lewis as he interviews successful entrepreneur dads sharing how they made it work from the start. This is Startup Dad HQ.
Welcome to Startup Dad Headquarters, where we're exploring the intersection between fatherhood, entrepreneurship, and life. And today, Startup Dads, backstage, I am really super excited to have on the show Jia Jiang. So Jia is the founder of the popular blog and video series 100 Days of Rejection. A native of Beijing, China, Jia came to the U.S. as a teenager to pursue his dreams of becoming the next Bill Gates. I love that. But despite early success in corporate world, his first attempt to pursue his entrepreneurial dream ended in rejection. Jia was crushed and spiraled into a period of deep self-doubt. He realized that his fear of rejection was a bigger obstacle than a single rejection would ever be. And he needed to find a way to cope with being told no without letting it destroy him. Thus was born his 100 Days of Rejection experiment, which is insane, and I love it. I can't wait to talk about it. During which he willingly sought out rejection on a daily basis for 100 days, from requesting a lesson in sales from a car salesman, this is one example, where he got a no, to asking a flight attendant if he could make an announcement on a loudspeaker, which resulted in a yes, to his most famous request, to getting a Krispy Kreme donuts in the shape of the Olympic rings. This was a yes, and it turned out to be a viral video on YouTube. This is the video I always share with a lot of my friends. Jia's story has been covered by dozens of news outlets, including Bloomberg Businessweek, Yahoo News, The Huffington Post, Forbes Inc., MTV, and many, many more. Jia holds an MBA from Duke University, a bachelor's degree in computer science from Brigham Young University. Jia, we're super excited to have you on the show. Welcome to Startup Dad Headquarters.
I'm super excited to be here. That was a heck of an intro.
Thank you. So, Jia, I told the audience a little bit about you. Please take a few minutes. Let us know a little bit more of what you have going on right now with your business and what's really exciting you with what you have going on right now.
Yeah, so basically, I've spent the past 2 years being on this incredible journey. You know, your intro allude to that. I basically went from doing a tech startup into finding something completely new in life, a new mission in life, which is I want to help other people to overcome their fear of rejection. Because I feel your fear of rejection holds you back so much in life, and sometimes we don't even know it. We just let it silently sit there and hold us back. And I feel if we can conquer that fear, can not let us ourselves reject us, we can do so much more in life. And Steve Jobs said we all want to make a dent in the universe. I found that place to make that dent, which is I want to help other people to overcome that fear of rejection.
Nice, that's awesome. So what are you currently working on right now in your business that's exciting you?
Yeah, so I am working on. I just finished my book. It's actually going to come out very soon, and I'm sure by the time this podcast is out, the book will be out already. So you can go order that book, and it will. I spent the last year and a half just really working on that book, and I found I've had so many lessons throughout my journey. That's the most exciting thing for me. And also, to help other people overcome their fear, I built out this course. It's called a Rejection Gym. So we can talk about that a little bit later. But basically, and I feel that your courage is like your muscle. It's not something you're born with. It's not something that you can just gain all of a sudden. It's a gradual process, and to do that, you can have different exercises, such as getting yourself rejected. That's what I did, so I built that into a course.
Nice. So you got the course and you have the book that's about to launch, which
Yeah.
is amazing. So, Ja, before we dive into the early stages of your startup dad journey, we have to take care of some important business first.
All
I
right.
like I like to set the stage for the first segment of our show, which I like to use this quote: "No other success can compensate for failure in the home." Would you agree?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Perfect. With that said, we want to talk about family first. And to help us to do that, I asked you to submit a family fun photo. You submitted a beautiful photo of your wife and your son. Let's bring that up right now and share with us what's going on here and everyone that's in the picture.
Right. This is my the day after my son was born, and this is me and my wife in the hospital holding him, and it looks like just a normal picture with a baby, right? But it has everything to do with my startup at entrepreneurship. And do you want me to go into that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So this picture was taken again one day after my son Brian was born in Austin. And 4 days before he was born, I quit my corporate job to start my entrepreneurial journey. So if you're talking about timing, of when you should quit your job, I probably chose the worst timing from a normal perspective. But I believe I had the best timing, and so that's so this my son's birth symbolizes the start of my not only a new chapter in my family, but new chapter in my life and my dream.
Awesome. And Ja, how old is your son now?
My son is he's 2 years old. He's almost 2 years and 5 months.
Okay, so you've been on your journey 2 years, 5 months, and 4 days.
Yes. Close
Nice.
to that, yeah.
Awesome. So, tell us about your wife and what does she do, and does she work or is she stay-at-home mom?
Oh, she works, and she works for Google.
Oh,
That's why we moved from Austin to the Bay Area, and her job search at Google, has everything to do with my book as well. So it's all connected.
nice. And I shared this with you when when I sent you an email to come on to the show.
Mhm.
But your story, which I heard for the first time at WDS, which is a conference we both had attended in 2013, when I heard your story of you quitting your job 4 days before Brian was born, that really inspired me and and that kind of helped me frame what I wanted to build and frame Startup Dad headquarters. So I want to publicly thank you for sharing your story back then in 2013, which you were still pretty new into your journey as well.
Yeah, yes, I am, and I appreciate you saying that, and I really appreciate you taking that message and started something, and you started this, and now I'm on this show. It's coming in full circles. But that's the power of sharing your story. We all think we make a hard decision where we have our ups and downs in life. Don't keep it to yourself. Share it with other people. It's not just about what you're doing, but also it's not just about your situation, but what you are doing with the situation. And a lot of people in our,
Sorry about this, but I can't take any requests.
I think Siri just talked. I have no idea why my phone just popped up. And Siri thought I called her name or something. Anyway, so
You were saying it's not just about your
yeah, it's not just about your situation, but it's about how you handle the situation, but also how you share your story with other people. And there are a lot of people who are in similar situations as you are, no matter your ups and downs in life. But when you share their story, you inspire others. You help others, and so I totally believe we all should share our stories.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely inspired me. So, Ja, can you tell us with, a 2-year-old son, your wife who works at Google, You guys have a pretty busy schedule. How do you balance between family and business?
It's it's not easy. There are a lot of trade-offs. It's balance is a tough word, because sometimes you just have to you want to be excellent at your work, right? I'm an entrepreneur. I don't like if I don't work, there's nothing happens, So sometimes it's just instead of balance, it's a trade-off. How maybe I need to give up hours here to for my family. Maybe this weekend I have a few hours here. It'd be so good if I use the hours to actually do to finish this project or send out those emails I've been wanting to send out. But like when you step out, it's like in the grand scheme of things, your son wouldn't be at this age again. So sometimes you just have to do a trade-off to saying, I want to spend my time with my family. This is very precious. I just leave my phone home and take them to museum or to the to somewhere nice.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And
yeah.
you talked about spending that time with your son. What does fatherhood mean to you?
Wow. Fatherhood means everything to me. I mean, everything is a big word, but it really means a lot to me. The reason is my father he is a great father. He was he was a great father when I grew up. He's a great father to me right now. He and my mom often come here and they want they see how busy we are, and sometimes they want to help out for a short period of time. And those times, even right now, my dad is still my best friend. We after dinner we go walk the dog together every day when he's there, when he's here. So I just see that because he actually made a very conscious effort when I grew up that he wanted to be a good dad. He wanted to invest time in me. He wants to be with me, and so this relationship, because my relationship with my father, I know what it could be like, and I want to have that with my son. So
Yeah, awesome. So Ja, let's get down to it.
all right.
Besides throwing out the trash, what's one way you help out around the house that's not traditionally done by the man of the house?
Ooh, okay. Well, let me think. I do finance.
Okay, you did a bill?
I handle all the finance at home because I use Mint and I feel the seeing setting a budget and sticking with the budget, and especially because as an entrepreneur I'm very budget conscious and money conscious, and money is the bloodline of any business, and also in a way it's the bloodline of a happy marriage, right? So you
Yeah.
don't want to run out of money. So I'm very so I do a lot of finance.
Okay, nice. Yeah, that question I catch a lot of startup dads by surprise with that one, and they do have to take a little bit of time to think about it. So
Yeah.
so we're now entering the second. Excuse me. We're now entering the second segment of our show. The next segment is called the True Startup Dad Story, and with this being Startup Dad headquarters, we want to focus on your start. One of my favorite quotes is, "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step."
All right.
Take us back to the beginning and share with us the initial steps of your Startup Dad journey.
Yeah, I think the toughest step was for me to start, for me to quit my job, just because I had a pretty good job. I was really comfortable with my job. In fact, I was too comfortable, and that the years I spent, okay, going all the way back, I said, I mentioned that I grew up idolizing Bill Gates. All right, I thought that's my life mission. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to change the world. And I came to America from China with that goal in mind. But then after years and years staying in the corporate world, I became too comfortable. And there's nothing wrong with being in the corporate world, but for me, I feel like life was missing something. And to a point that it was just, it was just so tough. I remember one day I came home and I was just I was in the closet. I was just crying, and my wife opened the closet door when she came home. She's like, "What's going on?" And I told her about my frustration. It's like, I'm not happy because I'm not pursuing my dream. I have a dream life, but it's not my dream. It's the American dream, someone else's dream. So the toughest step is to actually, to start your company. To me, that means I have to quit my current job. There are a lot of books and experts and people telling you don't quit your job. You have to, you can do them at the same time. And I learned I couldn't. I have to go all in, and I have to really just focus. Otherwise, I wouldn't do a good job, and I have always something to fall back on. So that was the toughest step. That was the first step, was figure out a way to quit my job.
Okay. So now, wow. So okay. So you grew up idolizing Bill Gates. So you kind of always had that entrepreneurial spirit in you. Now, was your dad or mom entrepreneurial, or anybody in your family entrepreneurial?
Not really. My father is my dad is he's a career teacher, and my mom she works as an accountant of the government. So none of them is, I mean, they're pretty anti-entrepreneur, if you can tell. They're very into security. But I'm not that way. I'm very entrepreneurial.
Right. So you started hearing about Bill Gates at some point in how old were you, would you say?
Well, I was 14.
14. So you started hearing about Bill Gates, you started getting excited about the things that he was able to do, and you said, "Man, I want to be like Bill Gates."
Yes.
And then but then you came, if I remember your story from WDS, you came into the US, and where you landed, you ended up going into there was something about where you landed in the U.S. Can you tell me, remind me what that was?
Yeah. So I didn't. My thing is, when my idea of America at the time was skyscrapers everywhere, all the glamorous things you see, but I came under a cultural exchange program, and so. The family I was assigned to by this organization was in rural Louisiana, and it's very different from my perception of America. It's a very small town called Simpson. If you get on Google Earth and go to Simpson, Louisiana, you really have to do a lot of scrolling and to be able to find any streets.
Right. So you're nowhere near Silicon Valley.
No.
Nowhere near Palo Alto.
No.
Right.
No.
So then you went to school, you got your bachelor's degree, you got your master's degree, you ended up going into what you said is the American dream, right? You got the good job, you had good money, you
had a house,
got a house, right? And then your wife is pregnant, and 4 days before your son is born, you decide to quit your job.
Yeah.
Can you take us to what was going on there? So you mentioned you were crying in the closet. You felt you wasn't living your dream.
Yeah.
Did you know what you wanted to do?
Yeah. I wanted to run a tech startup. This is very clear to me. I've always wanted to do it, but the problem is, I became too comfortable, and I didn't do it all those years before. So I felt I was losing my youth. You see nowadays you see the Mark Zuckerberg, so you see this guy was, the Snapchat guy, all these guys are starting very young, and they build all these world-changing things. I was young once. I was once at their age, but I didn't do it. I was once, 22. I didn't do it. I was once after graduate school. I was 28. I didn't do it. I got married. I didn't do it. But now my son is about to be born. I thought, this is it. I can't. I'm lost my chance because I was too comfortable. And if I couldn't do it like a young guy out of college, someone who just finished graduate school, how can I do it as a father? Yeah. So that's why this kind of desperation, this sense that I lost my chance, my opportunity, was driving me frustrated. And I was like, it was about 20 days before my son was born. That was July 4th weekend. I was, in the park watching the fireworks show. It was awesome, but I was just like, okay, this is it. I guess, I was sitting there, with my wife, and I was just like, okay, I guess I missed my chance in life to be an entrepreneur, and I'll be a good father. But it was then that was where my wife actually stepped up. She's like, she's been seeing me this frustration building up. She's saw this regret I had. She's like, you cannot have this regret. That's where she made a deal with me. It's a wife-husband deal. She's like, don't worry about me being pregnant. Don't worry about the kid. I mean, worry about it, but take this as your last chance.
Mm.
So go out, quit your job if you want to. Go out for 6 months and see what you can do with that time. So that's the start of my company. So I quit my job, and I had 6 months of time to build my company.
Okay, and we're going to talk about failure, but I know we got to go through this piece so that we could get to the rejection piece. So me recalling the story from WDS, can you take us through what happened with the tech startup company, and then we'll get into the next phase of your journey, which is rejection.
Yeah, so the tech startup, it started out pretty well. It started out because I've already had this idea. I've already had someone on the side helping me to build this software, and I was seeing progress. I just didn't have the focus on my end. So I quit my job, and I told my guy saying, I'm going in right now. I am being dedicated 100%. Let's do this. And then I started recruiting people, and just sometimes just people I knew, some people I don't. Sometimes I found one guy on LinkedIn. I found a former colleague who wants to do this with me. So basically, I was just forming a crew of international crew even. Of all over people all over the place, of engineers trying to build this tech startup. But then what happened is, the time was really running out and the money was being spent. So I needed investment. I needed to extend the lifeline of my company. And so what happened was I was asking for investment in the opportunity I thought I was getting really close to get. I felt great about it, but I was rejected. Was the investment opportunity.
Okay, so by the way, let me first say your wife is amazing for saying, hey, don't worry about me, don't worry about the baby, take 6 months and make it happen. So I love that, and kudos to her for supporting you. She sounds like an amazing woman. So now it sounded like you started the tech startup on the side, right? You were actually kind of side hustling.
Yep.
You were working your corporate job and you were starting to build the tech startup, but you realized, like you said, you just can't do it that way.
Yeah. I'm not saying everyone can do it.
Right.
I know me. I know, the best thing about me is I know my weakness really well. And I know I cannot focus on two things. So I had to quit.
Yeah. So then you quit. Then you started the tech startup. You started bringing this team together. It sounded like you also had a budget, some kind of finances that were there.
Yeah.
But it was running out.
Yep.
And now you tried to get investment, but you got rejected. And then this is where I think the bio kicks in, where the doubt started to kick in, and you realized that you need to face rejection in it and stare it down in order to get progress. So take us through that journey.
Well, it's rejection is a very tricky thing. So if you don't care about something that much, it's kind of okay. I mean, rejection is painful anyway, no matter what. But if you don't care about it, you can handle it better. But if you really want something, and you don't get it, that's like really tough to handle in terms of your psyche. So the day after I got rejected, I just felt when the world was falling apart. Maybe there was a sign from God that maybe I should just quit. You think about that, and people are not. I don't see people as nice to me anymore. And I started having these stories telling in my mind that already my friends and family, especially my in-laws, were not happy with my decision for quitting my job. My in-laws weren't happy. My friends were just making fun of me because they thought I was crazy. And then that's when you have to face the music. And it's like, wow, maybe they're true. Maybe I am crazy. Maybe I'm just stupid. Why did I do this? I had a good thing going. It feels like I'm chasing after this childhood dream, right? And that's unrealistic, not grounded. So you started, telling yourself those things, and so that's why rejection is tough sometimes, because if you don't handle it well, you become so afraid. You become like you started playing defense. You started not taking chances. You're just trying not to get hurt anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, and that is so true. And as you're talking, and I know a lot of the startup dads are going to relate. This is the exact same feelings that I'm experiencing, right? And the doubts and the fears and the concerns: if I fail and fall flat on my face, will I be able to provide for my family, put food on the table? In-laws and friends and everyone's laughing at you, and yeah, I completely get that. Thank you for sharing that. So so your 6 months is running out, and now you needed to pivot, right? How did you go about doing that? And share with us with the rejection experiment.
Yeah, so basically I found out that I was deeply affected by that rejection. It was almost like a mini depression almost. I started not wanting to do stuff anymore. I started saying, well, to get this going, I have to get more investment. But why should I do it? Because I'm going to get rejected anyway. So all this junk was in my mind, right? So, and I thought, wow, they're just junk. I can't let this junk stay in my mind anymore. I cannot be this afraid. So I thought that at that moment, yes, I need to run my company and everything, but the number one goal right now is I cannot be afraid. As a leader of the company, when you have doubt, when you stand there and when you are not sure and you started questioning, that's when everything falls apart. So I know, so I said, you know what, I need to overcome this. I need to be more brave and more courageous and not to be affected. So I looked online and I found what can help me to overcome the fear of rejection. And there's this game. It's called Rejection Therapy. If you go to rejectiontherapy.com, it's a card game, right? It's basically a game tells you you wants you to get rejected every day in some way through the card, But I thought, okay, this is a fun idea. Getting rejected sounds so terrifying, but if you're looking for rejection, maybe it's not that bad. Who knows? So I wanted to do it, but I wanted to put my own spin. I wanted to make up my own rejection, rules and ideas. So but this is where my creativity kicked in. I started coming up with all kind of crazy ideas to get rejected at. I mean, you mentioned some of those in the intro. Just the first day I went out to I saw a security guard. I'm like, what if I ask him to borrow $100 from this guy? What's gonna happen? So and is he gonna does he have a gun, or is he gonna club me, or something bad gonna really happen? Right. And he said no, but I came up unharmed. That's good. Right. So the second day I went to a Five Guys burger, in Austin. And I went in and I said, hey, can I get a burger refill? And he was like, what? I'm like, it's like a refill, but not with drinks, but with burgers. It was like, I don't have burger refill, man. So anyway, so it's this kind of fun things that I did and to get rejected at.
Yeah, that's awesome. And now, how did you, I mean, because when you started this journey of doing the 100-day rejection, did you know that this would turn into the business, that you would be able to get all this notoriety and make money, right? Did you know that was going to happen, or you just went in?
No, this is if you can talk about side project, this couldn't be any more of a side project. So basically, I wanted to be rejected for 100 days, not 30 days, but I wanted to do 100 days, go all the way. And but I thought, you know what, this sounds like, rejection day after day sounds pretty sucky. It doesn't sound fun. How can I keep going? So what I did was I used my iPhone, and I started. If you can see this, yeah, I started recording all these episodes of me getting rejected, and I upload them on YouTube. Basically, I tell the world, you know what, hold me accountable. I'm gonna do this for 100 days. But that made a huge difference, because that, you mentioned the Krispy Kreme video. That was day 3, where I went to Krispy Kreme and asked the shift maker the shift leader to make me donuts that look like Olympic symbols. Basically you interlink 5 donuts together, and something crazy happened. The person did it, and she did it within 15 minutes, and she got the color right and everything. And I thought, no way, because I was asking for rejection.
Right.
And she took it so seriously, and she did not know she was being filmed.
Right.
She did not know I was asking for some sort of absurd request. She thought I was serious, and she made it happen. So that's when, my whole world changed. My worldview changed, and that's the whole world changed.
Right.
That video got viral because people couldn't believe that either. And that's when all these things happened. People started writing me emails. People started, sharing stories with me, and I found, wow, maybe I'm not the only one who's afraid of rejection. So other people are too. Maybe there's something there.
Yeah, that is so amazing. And I just actually recorded an episode about faith, where the comparison between faith and luck. And I don't believe in the word luck. I believe that you have to put yourself in a position to get lucky, if you will, but I like to use the word blessed. You put yourself in a position for that when an opportunity presents itself, you're available to allow that opportunity to work on you. So in your case, you put yourself in this position, and day 3 of starting this journey, everything started blowing up, which is amazing. And in 3 days, your whole worldview has changed. So from whatever your worldview was before to this completely different way of looking at the world, and that was just because you had the faith and kind of put yourself in that position of vulnerability, which is amazing.
Yeah, and that's true. I wouldn't say luck. I see luck are the same thing as rejection. People think good luck is good, bad luck is bad, rejection is bad, right? So they should affect your journey. But I see those things are just events. Luck, rejection, they're just events. It's not about, the events that are happening, but about how you actually handle events. How do you prepare yourself for that event? So there's it's almost feel like you need to manage luck. Because in our lives, we're all gonna have lucky breaks. We're also gonna have really bad lucks if we look back in our lives, all of us. But the successful people I found are the people who set up systems, set up runways, and set up mechanisms. When bad luck hits, they know how to deal with it. They leave so they don't die, so their companies don't die from those bad lucks. And then when good luck comes, they can capitalize on those good lucks.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. So Jai, what does entrepreneurship mean? What does entrepreneurship mean to you?
Entrepreneurship, it's my life mission. It's what I'm born to do. I feel like I have a very strong feeling that it's my life purpose. There is what's making life worth living, and what I'm doing worth pursuing.
Yeah. So we're now entering segment 3, and this is the segment that I call Real Dads, Real Talk. This is where we go deep, and I ask a series of tough questions that we just can't skip over. Okay. We also start to pick up the pace on this segment, being cognizant of the time, and I know you have to go to pick up Brian from daycare.
Yes, I do.
So are you ready to dive in?
Yes, I am.
All right. So we talked about failure with your startup company. Can you talk to us? We want to talk about doubt and fear now, specifically from a perspective of a father and a provider. What has been one doubt or fear that you struggle with, and how have you come over that?
The doubt and fear I'm struggling with is this imposter syndrome, right? This thing I feel like, I don't know what I'm talking about. This entrepreneur dream, what I'm doing is all in my head. I told myself I'm meant to do this. If I'm not doing this, I'm not happy, right? So that Bill Gates inspiration thing. My fear is, constantly that I have to battle is those are the things, those are fairy tales in your mind that you shouldn't take them seriously. There are just too many things in life right now that telling you that your dream is your dream is just like that dream,
Yeah.
but I'm living the dream. I do every day. I just know by making, you're saying the journey of 1,000 miles start with a single step, right? You have to keep taking those steps. Every day you take another step. Every day you take another step. Those steps, those actions are the ones that are keeping this dream alive, are the ones that are making this real. So, every time I have that fear, have that doubt, the next steps is the best medicine.
Yeah, I love that. And imposter syndrome is definitely one that a lot of startup dads struggle with. So, what's the hardest personal sacrifice you've had to make along your journey?
Personal sacrifice. I feel like my being a startup, your life, your personal life, and your leisure time and your work are combined. When you're collecting income, like collecting a paycheck, however fat or thin from someone, like after work you go home, you don't have to think about anything. You can just relax. You have the weekend, go play basketball and take your kids to places. But now those things are constantly in my mind.
Mm,
So but the thing is, it's not we see that as a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice from what we had before, but also in a way is also life. You have a new lifestyle, and it's busier, but I'm not saying it's worse. It's just it is what it is, and it's super exciting.
yeah.
So maybe it's not sacrifice when it's that exciting.
Right. Yeah, no, I completely understand what you're talking about. And, being, in my case, I'm still doing the side hustle thing. And it's like any free time that I have, right, quote unquote, I'm thinking about the business. What should I be
Yeah,
doing from a marketing standpoint? I should
right.
be reaching out to another startup that guest. And so your mind is constantly thinking about it. And you're like you talked about earlier, you're trying to balance the time between your family and working on the business.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Knowing what you know now, what would you have done differently from the start?
Oh, I would start earlier in life. I would dive in earlier because that's number one thing. Seriously, because we feel. I think maybe you're in the same situation, and you feel like when you have to start right doing full time, and you feel like you're losing something. You're losing that paycheck. You're losing that whatever. But the thing is, what you're losing right now versus what you will be losing if you don't do this from the grand scheme of your life, you're
Mhm.
losing so much more if you don't do it. So I would start a lot earlier in life.
Yeah, wow, I like that. So, tell us about the intersection between fatherhood and entrepreneurship. We talked about fatherhood earlier, we talked about entrepreneurship recently. Where do you see the two of those things intersect with regards to Brian?
Two things. One, the first thing is Brian is my inspiration. I mean, he's coming to the world is my inspiration to be entrepreneur. Is I watched this guy's TED talk. His name's Larry Smith. It's a very famous TED talk talking about why you will have a mediocre career, basically. But he's saying that people making up all kind of excuses to why their careers will be mediocre, and the worst of all is their family, right? I have to be a provider. I can't pursue my dream because of I have to be a good father. What they're trying to say to their children is like, I can't pursue my dream because you were born. So and he's like, you know what? Why don't you switch that? Why don't you do? I have to pursue my dream because I want you to pursue your dream as well. You're my reason to pursue you're my reason to pursue my dream. And so I took that to heart, and so I'm gonna be like, no matter if I win or lose, if I succeed or fail, I will look my son in the eye when he grows up, and he's like, you know what, I did it. I give my all to, no matter what, I give my all, and so you should do that as well.
Yeah.
Go pursue your dream.
Absolutely. And you said there was a second?
Yeah, there's a second. I mean, second is I do feel like the parenthood, right? Raising a child is almost very entrepreneurial. It's just like it's almost like it's same thing like a business, like a relationship, right? Or the same thing with marriage. If you don't try to cultivate it, if you don't try to improve it and have a system and have a goal, it's gonna fail. Your relationship with your kids will fail. So you have to be very conscious with things you do, with the way you improve it, you keep your relationship with your son.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the reason why my logo is actually the image of me and my daughter, is to show that parallel between your baby, your child, and your baby, your company, right?
Yeah.
You want to cultivate them. You don't know everything about them. You don't know everything that they need yet, but you're trying to figure it out day by day, and you're trying to cultivate it and grow it and make sure it becomes healthy and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, absolutely, I could connect with that answer. So thank you.
Yeah, Joel, like that's such a beautiful picture. When you sent me that email and I saw that picture, it means a lot to me with that, with that picture.
Thank you, thank you. So Ja, we're entering the final segment of the show. I like to call this the rapid fire handyman segment. This is where we quickly reach into your toolbox and you provide the Startup Dad community with some really useful tools. And this, again, because you have to go right now, so we want to fire these off, and you fire off the questions and you fire off the answers.
Let's go.
What's your #1 time management hack or tool?
Wow, are you sure you have to be fast? I use Freedom. Freedom, yeah, it's Freedom. I get distracted a lot online, so that it's Freedom is a software that shuts down your internet for a period of times. So when I have to focus on the task, Freedom is the way to go.
Awesome. What's one personal habit that you believe attributes to your success as a father, husband, and entrepreneur?
Think big and be real. Just first of all, you have to think big as an entrepreneur and also as a father. You want to, you cannot compromise with what you really want, but also you have to be you have to be true to those things, meaning you have to make the conscious effort to fulfill those big thinking, big dreams. So you have to think big, but also back it up with actions.
Absolutely. What's one way you manage your health?
My health?
Yeah.
I just started a P90X for this year, and I feel like having it has energized me so much. And people are saying you're spending time to exercise, and then that's you're taking away you could have spent the time on your business or on family, right? But I feel because I do the exercise 1 hour per day, I'm gained so much more confident, so much more energy in both family and personal lives, and family and business lives. So
nice. Yeah. I love P90X.
Yeah, I love it too.
What's one book every startup dad should absolutely read?
In terms of being a dad, I think people should read the book How Children Succeed by this guy named Paul Tough. It's a great name for writing a book like that, Tough. But the book talks about how adversities are sometimes catalyst for success. You know, and we all face adversities that we either if we as parents, when we see our kids you know, have adversities, if we don't care, if we just step back, let them do everything, they're gonna fail. But if we shield them away from adversities, they're also gonna fail. What we should do is to you know, let them see adversity, but assure them it's okay, and help them to overcome those those adversities. So that's a great book.
Yeah, I definitely will add that to the show notes. How Children Succeed.
Yes.
All right. So, Jia, this was an amazing interview, and your journey is truly inspiring. And I'm really glad I was able to get you on the show, and you were able to give us some of your time. My final question is a little bit long, but it really produces some powerful answers, and here it is. On the other side of this broadcast is a startup dad who at this point is fired up and ready to go. He's been able to connect with your story, your journey. He's like, I'm just like Jia. But as soon as this broadcast is over, he's going to shut down his phone, maybe close his laptop, and then by next week, he'll find himself back to the day-to-day minutia of things. What would you say to that dad to inspire him beyond this episode?
Wow. I have two things. Okay. One is, if we have our vision of what's in front of us, every day in front of us, we're going to make very nearsighted decisions. You know, what's good for next day, what's good for next month. But we sometimes need to step back and you know, step back and pretend we are old. We are at the end of our lives, and we look back and we want to see what decision will you make at this point of your life. What decision will make you regret? What decision will make you proud? When you do that, when you stretch your time and looking back, the decisions you make are much more reasonable and much more you know, aligned with your long-term goal. So that's one thing. You have to think about, you know, if you're fired up right now, but next week you're back to normal, think about what you should do. You know, pretend you're old. What would the old, you know, say your name's John. What would the old John tell the young John right now? So that's one thing. Second thing is, hey, you feel free to reach out to me. You know, and I really enjoy this this podcast. You know, it has a great mission, and you know, talking about people like us who are fathers, who are entrepreneurs. You know, it's a great community. So, you know, if you want to reach out to me, feel free to go to my website, and you know, I'm building something special for you guys. You know, and I want to put something together. Like in I'm launching my book. I'm trying to do something that just for the startup dad. So if you come to my website, you know, fearbuster.com /startupdad, fearbuster.com /startupdad, and I have something special for you.
Awesome, Jia. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for your time again and for a really inspiring episode. Is there any other way we could get in contact with you? So we got fearbuster.com is your main website. There's a contact page there. And then thank you for the special gift, fearbuster.com /startupdad. And you're also on Twitter, Facebook.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. It's at my name, which is at Jia Jiang, JIAJIANG. I'll repeat it because it's Chinese. It's not that easy to remember.
Right.
At JIAJIANG.
Awesome, Jia. Thank you again for your time.
No problem.
Hey Startup Dads, take the next step right now and download your free guide called 9 Apps Every Startup Dad Should Have in His Toolbox. It's only available at startupdadhq.com /free gift. Again, that's startupdadhq.com /free gift. So go download it now, and we'll see you next time on Startup Dad HQ.